What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode. Are you ever in the situation where you want to convince one of your friends or family members to give cycling a try because you feel really passionate about it? And what could convince them better than seeing you ride on some beautiful roads with some epic views? Yeah. But if you're like me and you most of the time don't have a friend with you while you're riding the bike who can take these amazing pictures of you and you're kind of limited to taking selfie shots off your phone. And this is why over a year ago I backed an Indiegogo campaign for the Hover X1 Pro. A drone that was supposed to be flying on its own, record in 4K, follow you along. And everything sounded quite magical on that Indiegogo campaign. That this drone actually did deliver, because you have seen a lot of shots already, if you knew about it or you didn't, but a lot of the drone shots that are on my channel are actually coming from this drone, which is why I'm particularly happy that the company behind the Hover X1 Pro reached out to me and asked if I would want to create this little episode telling you folks all about this beautiful drone. They also sent around the Hover X1 Pro Max. I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences of those two drones and if you actually need the Pro version. They also sent a bunch of accessories with it that we're going to touch on. But yeah, let's first talk about the drone itself. So to be honest, when I initially backed the campaign for the X1 Pro, I've seen the Pro Max there as well, but to be honest, I thought that it's going to be too big to fit into the back of my jersey pocket, and I was also not sure if I really need 8K, but still, I mean, if you're spending some money, why not get the best? But yeah, mainly the form factor was a little bit of an issue, so which is why I was very surprised when they sent over the Pro Max, because as you see, they're exactly the same form factor. So whatever I'm going to be telling you about any systems and how they're stored in my back pocket, how they unfold like a book like this one, which actually allows it to be stored very easy and comfortably in your back pocket. And this is also the major aspect actually why I went initially with the Hover X1 Pro, and also even though there are other drone offerings in the meantime, I'm sticking with this one because of its form factor and how easy it fits, especially in my center jersey back pocket. And spec-wise, the main difference between the Pro and the Pro Max is actually that the Pro Max can record in up to 8K, while the regular Pro can record up to 4K. But to be honest, I've been using the Pro Max for quite a while now, and I set it to only record in 4K anyways, because I just want to be dealing with those massive file sizes. And then also, I don't think that I need 8K on drone footage, because that's not the kind of footage where I'm going to be zooming in. And all my other cameras that I'm recording my videos on, they also record in 4K, so that was completely fine. There's one small addition that the Pro Max has. It has a vision-based sensor on the rear, so in case you plan to fly the drone a lot in front of you in difficult territory, for example, then you might want to go for the Pro Max. But I was flying the regular Pro successfully without any backwards crashes, because if you pay a little bit of attention on where you're flying these drones, then I think you should be fine with that as well. So everything that I'm saying from here on out is going to be pretty much equal for both drones. And the great thing about this drone is actually that you don't need anything more than just this. So it folds up, it starts from the palm of your hand, it also lands back in the palm of your hand, and you don't need a remote for it because it has a very simple interface with one big button here in the center and then two buttons left and right, and a display that shows you all the information that you need to select the right mode that you want this thing to fly and follow you around. And talking about mode selection, there are a bunch of modes that you can select from here. There is also a nice app that you can run on your phone where you can already preview in like some nice animations what these modes are actually doing. You can also create a pre-selection of modes that are particularly interesting to you, so that you don't always have to like scroll through a list of 15 different modes or whatever the count is, but maybe stick to the 3 or 4 or 5 of your favorites. I mean, you have everything from like orbiting, regular hovering, to a bunch of follow modes, and particularly, while I think a lot of the modes are quite exciting, but there are 3 modes that I actually use the most. One is called dolly track, which is you have the drone pretty much flying in front of you and giving you like a nice frontal shot. The other one is side track, where the drone is following you slightly offset off to the side. And then the maybe most important one is actually cycling mode, which is similar to regular follow mode, but it is a little bit more, I would say, tight and following your exact movements, kind of reducing the risk of the drone colliding with anything. And as I mentioned, very simple interface. So it is as simple as that. You basically power on the drone with the center button, then you use the left and right button to select the mode that you want. You open the drone, you place it on the palm of your hand, and you let it take off and do its thing. Nice one. And if I want to land it, I'll just place my hand underneath it. And it lands back in the palm of my hand. As easy as that, no remote control needed. And if you browse through their website, you see that there are a bunch of exciting accessories that you can get, from basic ND filters to a dual charger for additional batteries. But there's maybe one thing which is particularly interesting, and it is the so-called beacon. Just to be clear, it is something that I didn't use so far. So you can have a lot of fun with just the drone without the beacon or actually any other accessories. But I would see them more as nice cherries on top of a very tasteful muffin. So talking about the beacon is actually doing two very cool things. First of all, it has a display, so it's going to show you a preview of what the drone sees. So you're always going to see like at what angle the drone is filming you. If you're going fast and you maybe have headphones in your ear, you also won't hear the drone, so you'll always know on the screen if it's still following you. And not only that, they introduced something called the co-pilot in some firmware update a while ago, and this is actually an interesting thing to mention as well, that they are frequently releasing firmware updates and application updates for the phone app, where you just get, for example, new flight modes or this so-called co-pilot function. Because while you have those smart modes where the drone, for example, is following you from behind, you have various parameters that you can tweak. You can tweak normally before you take off the height of where you want the drone to be and also how close you want the drone to be following you. But if you wanted to change some of those parameters, normally before Copilot, you had to land the drone, adjust the setting on the drone, and then take it off. While now with the beacon, those two buttons that you see here are actually not just simple buttons. They act as joystick controls. So while you are in the flight mode where the drone is, for example, following you, you can move it left and right, you can move it up and down, or make it come closer to you or further away. And here, for example, where the drone is following me rather from up high, with just the push of one of those joysticks, I was able to lower it down for maybe a slightly more interesting angle. And without having to land it in between, which I think is something great to do. And you already see that I have mounted this in front of my handlebars. It also came actually with a nice upfront mount, was a little bit more on the chunky side. And as I recently just purchased a 3D printer and I'm trying to learn how to 3D design stuff, I actually designed like this little Garmin upfront mount. So whenever I'm getting the drone out, I'm basically just putting my computer in my back pocket and I'm putting this one in the front, so that also when my handlebars are in the picture with a side view shot, for example, it doesn't look out of place, because this also looks like a regular bike computer. But then if you're a person who wants to get even more control of your drone and potentially fly it more manually, of course this is something that you can do from the phone app as well. But if you want more tactile controls, you can actually take the beacon and attach one of those joystick controls to it. So this gives you a very nice one-handed kind of interface where you can control the drone this way, and you're gonna have your preview up here. But if this is not enough control for you, there is another module that you lock in on the other side of the beacon, and then you can basically pull it out, fold it together, and you're gonna be putting your phone down here, and then you're gonna have a nice more professional interface, a proper controller with some nice wheels, shortcut buttons up here, and which gives you proper control of the drone when you want to fly it manually. So if you're looking to get, for example, some scenic shots and establish where you are, for example, then you can do it with this kind of interface. I'm not really that kind of person. I'm more, as you know from my channel, I'm more having some action shots of the drone following me around without doing like all those beautiful shots and flying around a drone manually. But this doesn't mean that you're not the person that would enjoy these kind of things. And I think it's great that they're actually offering and thought about this solution. And I love that it is in this kind of like modular setup where you can take things nice and apart, because that also makes it easy to store things in your back pocket, or if you're having like a bigger saddlebag or a frame bag, for example, to actually throw these things in as modules rather than having a big remote control in one piece that you have to kind of find space for. But for me, as you know from maybe watching a couple of episodes on this channel, I pay a lot of attention to the weight of my bikes, so I'm more going as minimal as it gets. So I'm only carrying the drone with me most of the time, and now I'm going to be carrying the beacon with me because this one is also very, very light. I'm actually considering also adding another battery or two, but to be honest, battery-wise, I'm getting, I would say, 14 to 15 minutes of active shots out of this. I mean, it also depends, plus minus, of how windy it is and how strong the drone actually needs to work against the wind. But most of the time, I would say roughly 15 minutes of footage, which, is more than enough, because especially if you're filming things for YouTube or to show to your friends and family, you're not gonna have this drone take off and fly 15 minutes behind you. Most of the time, I'm having this drone take off, fly behind me for 30 seconds, 1 minute maximum, and then start it off again at the next location or actually at another angle. So I think with 15 minutes, you're getting like 15 clips or 30 clips, and depending on if you're doing like 30 seconds or 1 minute clips, which I think is actually quite a bit to squeeze out of one ride, because I mean, you also don't want to be stopping all the time. You also want to be enjoying the ride. And yeah, just carrying this with you with only the battery that's mounted in it, for me has been, it has been my go-to setup for a while now. So as you might notice from the footage also that you see here, and from me just passionately talking about this little thing here, I'm very, very excited about this collaboration and that they reached out to me. So I'm very, very happy that I can share like these details with you and spend an episode on that. I hope that you're also maybe interested in these kind of like technical things around, what's behind the scenes, maybe tech-wise on this channel. So if you did enjoy this slightly techie episode, don't forget to hit that like button. Also consider subscribing if you're not a subscriber yet. And with that, as always, I say thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.